there's problem-based learning is a very popular theory. So they use that in sport and they use it in education as well. So, sitting down and with a problem. So
Yeah.
it might be the athlete is underconfident, and then it's going away and essentially just doing the hard work and trying to find the solutions to come up with that problem. And it might be that you're working in a team with a strength and conditioning coach, a psychologist, a nutritionist, and you might find out that the problem is actually nutrition.
Yeah.
That's why they're undermotivated.
Yeah.
So it's just exploring
Yeah.
and doing that through acting and trying to come up with new and novel means to meet that problem.
Yeah. I remember hearing a funny story. I won't say who the player was, but he had had an injury in his wrist and he came back, and the sports psychologist was working with him, and it was building back up to quite a big event. And apparently the sports psychologist said, right, it was that kind of, if I read you right, that whole thing of problem solving, almost like a pre-mortem kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, right, you're playing the US Open.
Pre-mortem.
Yeah. It's you're playing the first match back after whatever months, US Open, first round, you lose the first set 6-1. What are you going to do? And the player was like, I'm not losing the first set 6-1. He was like, no, but what are you going to do if it happened?
Yeah,
and it was like, could not get past this thing. He was like, I'm not even speaking about this. I've lost it. But eventually, over time, he was like, right, if that does happen, I'll do this, that, and the next. So that was a very unique, I would say, very brave way to approach that particular player. But that kind of is like a little bit in, let's explore all these different avenues of what you could do if this does happen. So then, and
I think with a player like, that's, they're not willing to accept that anything is.
Now, it is very clever in hindsight, because obviously the guy was good, the psychologist and the player, but very clever to break that down. So it was like, if it does happen, it's not the end of the world, because I've explored this to its nth degree.
Exactly.
And so then they're de-stressed when they go and perform.
So they've run the scenario through, whether that's just talking through it, visualizing it through it. So when they actually come to the moment,
it's like, I can handle it. And I think that's why I keep coming back to this feeling of, no matter what happens, I can handle it. And handle it might be losing. And now you can gain confidence from being in a pressured situation and knowing that if it doesn't work out well for you, it's not the end of the world. I can handle it because I've got all these coping strategies of evaluation, reflection, reset goals, and go again.
And I think at the core of all this, all those central sort of regulative skills, is the ability to adapt.
Big time.
Like you're kind of like, whether it's like, I've just lost 4 points, it's now like advantage to them. What am I going to do? How am I going to problem solve that? Or I've just lost a set. What am I going to do? How am I going to problem solve that? Or I've had a bad tournament. What am I going to do? How am I going to problem solve that? How am I going to adapt? Constantly looking for new solutions. And I think that sets aside the really great players, because they always find a way.
Definitely.
My favorite, Federer, he'll find ways. Like if Isner's serving to him, he'll find a way.
When people were thinking Andy was going to retire in January, everyone's saying, what's your favorite memory of Andy? And everyone's saying Wimbledon finals and Davis Cup and whatever. And I said, my favorite memory of is him playing the third or fourth round of Miami when he was about 21, and he was playing a French guy called Paul-Henri Mathieu, and he was a set in a double breakdown, and he was down and out, and somebody from the crowd shouted out, "Finish this bum," something like that, and you just saw Andy's face, and I was like, oh no, here we go. And that was it.
You were thinking,
that was it. Every point he won, he was giving the guy daggers, and he came back and he won that match. And I think for me, that sums him up in terms of like how many times he was 2 sets down, and he'd almost have a smirk on his face because he knew he could outlast the opponent. But
you need an inner belief.
Big time.
As well. So if the inner belief's not there, that solid foundation of confidence.
That's why I'm not a massive fan of the will to win slogan. I think having it's where there's a will, there's a way, or you've got to have the way. First, I don't think willpower means nothing unless you've actually got something to hook onto,
good point.
which is a nice kind of circle back to the start. It's like it's all about what you practically do. You could argue that the psychology of a player doesn't mean anything unless they go and do something. So it's almost like the information versus the practical ability to apply it.